Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Dash. That belongs to the apostles, the elders, Great Millstone, Truth Well. Salutation to the hopeful elect out there, man. Akim to Zadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. I'm the priest Shaman. This week's topic is going to be entitled Redeeming and Measuring the Times, man. Redeeming and Measuring the Times. It's the book of Ephesians chapter 5, verse 17, and it reads, Wherefore, be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. Right, so we understand what the will of the Most High is, and what's that? To destroy America, get this shit off the face of the map, save his people, all right, and bring destruction to America. And leading up to that destruction, you're gonna have different types of woes, whether that be famine, whether that be pestilence, whether that be trials and tribulations from Jacob's trouble, okay, and the hour of temptation being the RFID microchip. So we know what time it is, all right. And that's why we prep ourselves. We do these lessons week in, week out, man, day in, day out, just to keep our mind single, keep, the main focus of why we're here. Because when you stop doing that, you get wrapped up and unwise in the cares and affairs of this world. And that's what most people are. It says, well, understanding what the will of the Lord is. And I just elaborated on the will of the Lord. Verse 18, and be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess, but filled with the Spirit, right? And being drunk with wine, it's wine really going into these philosophies, right? The scriptures speak about the nations are drunk for wine, therefore the nations are mad. You know what I'm saying? So it's not talking about actual wine, because scriptures tell you that wine was created to make men merry, all right? And there's this a spirit in the wine that makes you merry and take your stress off shit. So hell, no, you stressed the fuck out when the world got flooded, got drunk. Okay, so the wine that it's talking about to get drunk off of is the philosophies of this world. Like if you let's say me, right? I watch the NFL. My favorite team is the Eagles, right? All right, that's cool. Now, what if I was like, I'm dripped down Eagles. That's all I care about. You come into my house and shit. All you see is Eagles memorabilia every fucking where. I'm following the players. I'm so wrapped up into that shit. I'm drunk off that now. Cause that's all my main. I'm drunk off the wine of the fucking football shit. You see what I'm saying? So the main thing you have to be focused on again is these scriptures. All right. It says, and that's just one of many examples of different ways you could get lost here in America. So many distractions. And be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit, right? Be filled with the Spirit. So that right there lets you know that it's a spiritual comparison, right? Also, you're not supposed to be an actual drunkard, man. Blowing all your money on wine and hookers and shit like that, man. Right, because that starts to transition from a physical habit that starts to affect your spiritual habits. You know what I'm saying? 19, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in the heart of the Lord. Submitting yourselves. What? Okay, wait a minute. I was looking for measuring and redeeming the times. Okay. Sorry. Salakia. Let me jump up to 14. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 14. It says, wherefore he saith, awake, thou that sleepest. A gross darkness covers the whole. Gross darkness shall cover the people. That's when you go to sleep, when it's dark. Now, pursuant to the book of Romans, 12th chapter, 13th verse, the night is far spent, man. It's high time to awake out of sleep. So we shouldn't be sleeping. Some people go back in the world and sleep. We shouldn't be sleeping. All the shit Nero, Trump popping off with, World Health Organization, all right, standing tall on tariffs, want to take Greenland, making examples of Venezuela. The atmosphere is rightful of war being staged. So, tangling alliances, all that stuff is in play. Wherefore he saith, awakest thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead. See that? Now, I started a verse ahead, but I went into the understanding, right? So if you don't have the understanding that I mentioned, understanding the will of the Lord, all right, you're dead. Okay? If you're not out there trying to keep the law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability, you're dead. You know, you're not in tune with these prophecies, you're dead. You're wrapped up in the cares of this world, you are dead from the neck up. It says, from the dead, and Yahushua shall give thee light, right? St. John 6:63, it's the spirit that quickeneth. The words that I speak unto you, they are life. Okay, so again, the power of understanding the word gives us life. Understanding who your enemy is, understanding just why the world is, why we're in this state. You know, who we are as a people, all this stuff makes you alive, man. And if you don't have it, you could be destroyed pursuant to the book. What was that, Hosea? Was it Hosea? My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That's a go-to scripture. I just can't bring it to my mind right. Hosea 4:6. Saying? I believe Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Wherefore he saith, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Yahushua shall give thee light. See then that ye walk circumspectly. Circumspectly meaning looking around. You know what I'm saying? Very observant of what the hell is going on. Not as fools, but as wise, right? You know? So it's unwise to not be circumspect. It is wise to be circumspect. So everything that pops up, hey, we looking at it from different levels, all right? Even this whole Greenland shit, there could be different levels to it, right? So it's all about just observing what the hell is going on in the world, bringing it right back to the scriptures and see where it aligns with prophecies, all right? And then you educate the people on it. There we go, 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil, right? So we're redeeming the times right now, okay? Pretty much knowing what time we're in, all right? And putting our best foot forward for the Lord, because we know that, hey, judgment is coming upon this place. You see? Let me go now to 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. Okay? 2nd Ezra 9 and 1, it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before. Bear with me, brothers. It says, and he answered me and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before. So how we measure the times? Again, I just, it's the same as redeeming the times, acknowledging what the fuck is going on in the world, and seeing where the lines of prophecies, okay? And the second part of that, it says, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee, and we've seen it, all right? We've seen it. There's things that have been implemented right now, 2020, the grinding ceasing, all right? No more Metro cars in New York, the banning of pennies. They're gradually moving this thing forward, man, all right? We just need that RFID chip, not to be created, it's already out, to be mandated, all right? And they're already conditioning people to get used to a police state with this whole ICE thing, man, okay? Can they get cool with us, like, just shooting a bitch in the car, like, you see what I'm saying? So they're conditioning people to say, hey, man, fuck it, the police is right, And depending on whether you're on the left or the right, because that's another form of control, all right? You automatically going to side with the government and whoever's leading it. If you lean left and the left is in charge, you're gonna be okay with them locking down this entire shit and telling you to put a mask on your face. If you lean right, you're gonna be cool with some guys just gunning some bitch, shooting some chick in her whip. So a police shooting a so they playing the people. But we see through the bullshit. Revelations 3:18. We got the eye south. We know how the devil moves. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Okay? Using psyops and shit to further their agenda, psychological operations, whether the event be organic or synthetic. Okay? It says, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And the Most High is visiting this place, man. All right? The Most High is visiting this place. Amos chapter 9, verse 8. The eyes of the Lord upon a sinful kingdom. All right? You see all them chariots sighting that just keep popping up in America? The angels are watching. Say, this place got to go. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, you seeing that, all right? You're seeing these different color revolutions they staging all throughout the world to take places over. Okay, there's also uproars and protests against America. There's people in America that's down on the brink of civil war. Okay, the same thing I just mentioned with the high shit. You got the opposite side. Guess what? They protested that hard. So there's uproars all over, whether it be domestically here in America or internationally, all right? Different countries complaining about their leaders or about America. Uproars in the world, it says, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, right? The Most High declared the end from the beginning. You see? That's like we always say in another dimension or another part of the timeline. America's already destroyed, man. We just need to play out in our timeline right now. You see? And it will. Who is he that says it cometh to pass as the Most High commanded it not? In Isaiah 55:11 it says his word shall not return void. So everything that's prophesied in these scriptures shall come to pass. We believe that. The Most High has gifted us with faith. Ephesians 2:8, to believe it. Because if the Most High don't give you that faith, you ain't gonna believe. There ain't shit you're not gonna believe. You're gonna be an atheist. Okay? It says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. It says, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, right? So everything has a beginning and an end. Everything has a set appointed time. And America has a set appointed time. It tells you that in the book of Job, that the Most High has set his bounds, all right, and he can't pass. Meaning there's a spiritual hourglass. Shit, the Most High could even have an actual hourglass up there in the heaven, just for himself to look at, that every sand is dropping, and once all the sand is out, that's when this man goes down. It was appointed, man. All right, from the very beginning. But every prophecy has to play itself out. Prophecies can't jump each other. You can't go to the chip and not have no slavery. You gotta have the slavery. You gotta have this man come up and rule. You gotta have the dollar. You have to have the collapse of the dollar. All these things have to play out. You go to a movie theater, you can't start at the fucking end of the movie and then jump to the beginning and back to the middle. I mean, some movies do that, but the scriptures ain't doing that. Okay, the prophecies ain't doing that. It's beat for beat, one after the next, as the Most High said how he wants it to be. And here's a precept that this is the book of It's the book of 2 Ezra chapter 4 verse 37. It says, by measure hath he measured the times, going into measuring and redeeming the times, and by number hath he numbered the times, and he does not move nor stir them until said measures be fulfilled. Right, until said measures be fulfilled. You see, so Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there's a purpose and a time for everything under heaven. So right now, we're in a time of war. We're in a time of war. We're in a time of people waking up, and the Most High spreading this truth out there. All right, you got the prophets, of course, and then you got people taking our clips and throwing it on social medias, these TikToks and Instagrams and shit, having the thing go viral, man. All right, and yeah, these camps be bugged out, whether it be IUIC, ISUPK, but guess what? They're waking people up to know that they're Israel. So that's all the will of the Lord right there being done. To what? To remove the cloak, man. These people can't hide. All right, this truth is everywhere now, man. All right, at least for now, till this man shut everything down. There's a famine of the word, but right now, okay, this truth is spreading like wildfire. It's been spreading for decades now. See, so the Most High is creating that enlightenment, all right, giving people the opportunity to get right, which most of them won't. But hey, blood's off the prophet's hands, man. So stay in tune, man. Stay in tune. Let's see what Nero is doing next. He's speaking at the World Health Organization right now, talking his shit. Let's see if Colombia, another Latin American nation, is next. The toppling of Iran's current regime. Will they take Iran like they took Syria? Nope. Iran's gonna fight, man. Allied with Russia. That shit ain't gonna be easy. That one's not gonna be easy. As a population, they actually have an army and the military and a large population, so that one won't be easy. But well, we get the fuck out of here, man. We want the kingdom. We want to be with Yahweh Shah. We want this shit to end, bro. So maybe Yahweh Shah hates in this thing and send more evils upon this place, man. And we may be delivering his Sunday return. With that, giving all praises to Yahweh, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the whole for the elect out there. You Akim to Zadakim that did this thing in damn whole truth and sincerity. Shalom.